Yo guys, it's Nathan Williams, and today we will watch some unused graphics, but this time, it's in my Singing Monsters Down a Fire. So make sure to push that like button and that subscribe button, and with that being said, let's go. Early versions of Dandadu's Sprites. Young Dandadu's Sprites put together. Adult Dandadu's Sprites put together. There was also an early version of young Dandadu's icon, using the My Singing Monsters art style as a placeholder. An early placeholder version of adult Dandadu's portrait. An early version of adult Pango's sprites. Early versions of the Thumpy's sprites. Adult Thumpy's sprites put together. There was also an early version of the young Thumpy's icon. This was changed in 1.20, however, what it was changed to wasn't the final icon, as it was changed again in 1.6, a version after the Thumpy's released, meaning this technically was used to remove the noses as they were removed from the final design. Early versions of the Thumpy's finalized sprites from version 1.2, with the most noticeable difference being that they have a higher saturation than the final sprites. An early version of adult Barb's sprites. Early versions of Clamble's sprites. An early version of young Repetillo's sprites. Early versions of Shellbeat's sprites. Interestingly, the adult is red, which could be a remnant of early sprites for the original MSM, being reused for DOF. An early version of young Yelmoot. An early version of young Entbrat. Early versions of Candelavra's sprites. Young Candelavra's sprites put together. The biggest difference in this early design is that it originally had a neck. The water droplet on its head was also originally a flame, as it used to be a quad lacking the water element. Adult Candelavra's sprites put together. The same differences of the neck and water droplet from the young version exist here, along with many more differences like the body and arms being more akin to the young Candelavra. A placeholder for Candelavra's egg, which uses the body and head sprite of the young version. An early version of young Kana's eyes. The actual eyes are part of the head sprite. Unused sprites of adult Drumpler's legs. The final legs are made out of two separate sprites, one for the upper leg and one for the lower leg. Young Fangler has an early sprite of its tendril, which is one sprite instead of being split into two, and is longer than the final tendril, looking similar to the tendrils of adult Fangler. Adult Sponge has 4 unused hand sprites for its fingers moving. These are all in the MSM art style. The young Thumpies have 2 unused sprites for noses. Adult Scups has an unused sprite of its feathers from MSM. An unused sprite of a hair tuft belonging to adult Souza. The sprite is clearly unfinished. A similar sprite to this can be seen in the portrait for young Souza. 2 sprites of adult Zigurab's head spinning. Zigurab's head only spins in its young form, and in its adult form, the middle segment spins. These sprites depict Zigurab as being white, possibly being based off a cake or a stone tower. Chorister has an unused sprite that was used for Rare Chorister in the original My Singing Monsters. This sprite is in the MSM art style. An unused neck sprite for young Candelavra. This is a remnant from an early design for Candelavra in which it had a neck. An unused sprite for Schmoochel that seems like it would have likely went around its heart as a glow effect. An early version of Purple Prismatic Mammoth's main eye, which can be found in the Blue Prismatic Mammoth's sprite sheet. A very similar but slightly darker version of this sprite is used when Purple Prismatic Mammoth is muted. There are also early versions of the eyes surrounding the Purple Prismatic Mammoth, which have less of a glow. An unused Gnarls costume meant for Summersong Jr. that existed in the files when the monster first released. This was later replaced by its Festival of Yay costume. Older versions of the game from before the Skyship actually released contained an early sprite sheet for the Skyship. The final Skyship doesn't use sprites and is instead a 3D model. In versions 3.07 and 3.10, these placeholder sprites existed for the costume trunk, which are the sprites of the Toy Factory but with a red with yellow dots overlay on it. An early version of the Wishing Wells design, which was in the game's files since it launched. It only consisted of a still PNG, as it was likely unfinished at the time. The coins and water appear different from the final design. Early sprites for the deconstructor structure. This sprite, though altered, can be seen in My Singing Monsters on Mirror Water Island. Satellite. This structure was used to send updates and messages to players before it was replaced by the bulletin board. Piggy bank. The piggy bank most likely would have had something to do with diamonds because of there being a diamond in the sprite sheet. When placed in game, it defaults to a sprite of the whirlpool, another unused structure. Its use is currently unknown, although it does have a unique UI that appears when tapped on, which displays a flat shaded image of a piggy bank with a diamond count of 1,000 and a button saying temp break. Referral stand. This structure's sprites were initially added in 1.51 and was given data in 1.81. It would have likely worked similar to referral codes and the short-lived community codes from the original My Singing Monsters, where you would enter another player's friend code or a code from an MSM social media page to get a reward. This feature was later moved to the options menu during development before being scrapped. The name and description of the structure used to say referral stand and referral stand description. However, they were later changed to placeholder, an unused unique design for vault levels 9 and above. In version 1.50, this had a different design, looking more similar to the level 8 vault. An unused button for a recipes section of the market, implying you were originally able to buy recipes from it. An unused button for opening the trading post menu, which goes unused due to the menu instantly opening upon tapping the structure. This sprite looked different before version 1.4. 2 unused sprites that were meant to go behind the loading progress text. These sprites can be seen in this image of the old DOF loading screen. Early sprites for achievements from version 1.00 of the game. The pink achievement completed sprite uses concept art of Entbrat. 1.0 and 1.1 of DOF had many unused UI frame sprites. These sprites are all oddly colored pink, which was likely meant to indicate that they were supposed to be removed. Seems like someone didn't get the memo. An early version of a basic bamboo frame. The second sprite is named Bamboo Frame Green, meaning it was likely supposed to be green before being turned pink. An early version of a button ring, an early version of the level bar, an unused frame for the vault's item count, an early version of the timer frame, an early version of the trading post canopy. The second sprite is named MKTOC Canopy Blue, meaning it was supposed to be blue. Interestingly, the used trading post canopy is named MKTTOS Canopy Ends, suggesting it was originally used as the side of the canopy. Placeholder designs for the costume items from before the costume trunk released. Earlier versions of DOF contained a sprite sheet called Core Island Sprites, which was the Air Island balloon from My Singing Monsters. An early version of the Ocean's Tier star chart from 1.70, being based around Hornicle's claw instead of an element. This only has 20 nodes, unlike the usual 25. A placeholder star chart being in the shape of a Z, likely standing for Zodiac, the internal name for the Celestials. This was used for Core Aflame to Immortal Jolt, and Cosmic Ooze to Weathered Winds in version 1.70. The store icon for the costume trunk structure oddly uses an early version of its design, featuring brighter wood, a different head shape, and different items inside its mouth. The pupil on the green quibble head is flipped in the official PNG, and the lower necks are taller than they are in-game. Adult Pango has a stock watermark hidden on its belly. Due to the high quality of the official PNGs, this watermark becomes visible, however it is hard to see. Young Glow's left arm is slimmer in-game than it is in the official PNG. For some reason, young Flugol's right eye in its official PNG is green. This may be a leftover from an early design, as the adult version has green eyes. Along with this, the image also uses Flugol's slightly closed eyelid sprites, despite the eyelids not being visible when it's not blinking. The official PNG of Adult Waddle has different fur from the in-game design, being more smooth. while the in-game version's fur isn't as smooth. The inside of its right ears is also missing the pink. The right eye on young Pummel's official PNG uses an unfinished version of the pupil sprite, where it doesn't have any shading. It is also the same size at the left pupil, despite them being two different sizes in-game. Young Wink's ears are different in its official PNG, with there not being any detail inside of them. Young Snizer's PNG seems to be an earlier version of its design, lacking its tooth and the crystals on its cheek, as well as having a bigger eye. Woolaby's official PNG has a different stomach color on the birds. The official PNG for adult edamame has 4 peas in its stalk, which are located throughout the top, and 5 beans on each arm, while in-game it has 5 peas in its stalk, which are all located towards the front, and 4 beans on each arm. The official PNG for adult dromedary has some slight differences from its in-game design, most notably being the shape of the spirals on its drums, where in-game the spirals are rounded, but the official image has them looking more jagged. The green on its upper arm is also slightly different, and the bottom cracks of its drums are glowing in the fan kit image. Plixie's official PNG is missing the eye sockets found in the in-game design, though it's likely that the PNG is correct, and the in-game design just simply has a layering error. Whoa, what a video! This took too long than expected. Anyway, I hope you did enjoy the video. Also, I did mess some information, so if you want a really short part 2, tell me in the comments also if you have ideas that you want to be sure to say it in the comments. And goodbye!